Hello everybody, Daniel here, bringing you a Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary, and an update commentary, I should say, because it's Smithmas 2014. It's Christmas time in Team Fortress 2, which means we have a bunch of new things at it. Unfortunately, we also have the most depressing grapple I've ever experienced. I wanted to bring my sentry at the Rescue Ranger. It was not to be. It got sapped. Smithmas was ruined there and then for me. So there's been a lot added with this update. It's kind of interesting, because again, this is another update where we just couldn't really anticipate what was going to happen. Because now we have essentially a new game mode. This is called Mannpower Mode. And essentially it is capture the flag, kind of like a hardcore variant of it, I think. Where random crits are disabled, and you now have a grappling hook to kind of zoom about the map. So I'm guessing with the grappling hook, but this essentially encourages its faster play. Because you can just like jump from one point to another like rather quickly. And anyone can actually use the grapple there. It works really well with the engineer as well, because if you have a rescue ranger, you can just grapple and then pick up your sentry, and you can get it in really cool spots like this, where it's then really defensive. The problem with the game mode actually seems to be that the base capture the flag mechanics, where you have to capture the briefcase, it's been up to 10 to win the round, which kind of contradicts the fast-paced nature that you'd expect with a game mode like this, because you're zipping all over the place, you're really flying about in this game mode. But because you got to do it 10 times, it actually slows it down quite significantly. And games really do take a while. Like, I'm actually doing a bunch of edits for this video. It's like, this footage that you're seeing overall, this was over an hour. There's only two games that unfold in that time, so it's really not as fast-paced as you think it would be. And that's kind of just a problem, because it really just contradicts the notion of the grapple. It's also in early beta, so that has to be said, because Grapple isn't exactly polished at the moment. It looks janky as hell, and it's kind of dumb. You can get into some glitched out spots on the map. You can like kind of grapple onto like background scenery, for example, but then you'll hit invisible walls because the grapple doesn't detect those. So obviously there's a lot of polish that still needs to be put into this, and it makes sense that it's in beta because of that. The maps for it are actually pretty interesting choices. We have Foundry and we have Gorge. From what I've seen, Foundry is pretty much the base Foundry. It's just like you can just now go up on the things up above the base map. But for Gorge, there's actually some little alcoves and such that have been added. So you can kind of find like ammo and health packs in various locations. And places like this kind of rooftop here, you can now just fully walk on, and they're ideal spots to essentially build sentries. So, of the two maps, Gorge is probably the better one, because there's a bit more work that seems to have gone into it. Foundry, there's just too much like kind of up in the air about you. Like, there's loads of like overlapping buildings that just kind of like cross the ground, and like loads of bridges between things, that the grapple really doesn't work, because you just bang into those too much. So, a bit of a shame there. But the Gorge map is actually really fun. Like, it's the buildings and like the distance between points are just the right distance from each other. And it's kind of weird that this actually isn't a capture point mode, because if you had grapple hooks in capture point mode, it would probably lend itself a lot better to the fast-paced nature that I believe this is going for. But again, it's the capture the flag one, and just to even slow it down further, if your intelligence is actually captured, you're not allowed to capture the other intelligence. So again, the game really does drag on. But again, beta is beta. It'll hopefully be ironed out. We've also got some unique power-ups that you can get in this game mode, which are just kind of broken. The reason being that these are just like kind of insane power-ups that you can just find all over the map. Like, so one of them can just give you like instant crits, and you just have crits for as long as you have this power-up. Another one is called the Regenerator power-up. And when you pick up that, you just regain your health, and you can regain metal as an engineer, which is just ridiculous. I have it here, and as you can see, I have 170 metal right now. Now I'm just up to 200. That's going to give me 100 metals. I believe it's about every 5, 6, maybe 8 seconds. But it's quite often, though, and like so you're never really worried for metal. And, well, it's kind of ridiculous, some of them. There's another one called the Vampire power-up, where you just kind of restore health based on the damage that you deal. And if you have something like Pyro, you're getting that off in every tick. So it's kind of crazy just how that actually works. And the problem is, if you die in the face of one of these power-ups, well, you're at a significant disadvantage now, because the enemy still has their power-ups. They only lose them on death. There's no like kind of time limit on them. So it can be really difficult to make a comeback just on the reason that your enemy has loads of power-ups. So it's quite unbalanced because of that. So something needs to be kind of done there, because it can just be completely one-sided. Like, suppose one team just gets all the power-ups before the other. You're kind of screwed. Like, there's nothing you can do. They're all just super soldiers fighting you now. All you've got is a grapple hook. Like, as cool as it is, you're not going to be able to fight a vampire. I never thought I'd have to say that about Team Fortress 2, but there you are. I know I'm being quite critical here and quite analytical, but I'm trying to give as much feedback as I possibly can, and I do fully understand that this is still in early days. I mean, for Christ's sake, it only came out yesterday, and we still have very goofy scenarios where I actually have to ask an engineer to stop burping. No joke, he was staring at me for about 5 minutes, just constantly burping, and it was making me feel really uncomfortable. I still understand for this game mode you'll have like the occasional players just grapple himself on top of your spawn, essentially sitting up there screaming to everyone on his team like, "Hey, look at me guys, I'm so high up!" and not actually playing the objective. So just bear that in mind. I'm just trying to offer as much constructive criticism as I can. This was also hilarious, by the way. Me and Floofer essentially set up a sentry here. He baited people with a high five taunt, and the amount of people just ran up to him, and the amount of kills we got to the sentry, it worked so well that another engineer came along, and we had 2 sentries here. So this was absolutely hilarious while we were playing, and it just goes to show that there's still a lot of room for just fun and goofy things in this game mode. And it makes sense considering that it is Christmas and we have essentially been given a new toy in the form of a grappling hook. Like, of course we're just gonna mess about with it, not really play the objective. I mean, it's horribly impractical sentry placement right now, but my god, it was hilarious. I am being quite analytical though, because I do see a lot of potential for this game mode. Like, this is something I want to see refined. I think this is a really cool idea if it's executed properly. Like, I've been watching things like Overwatch for a while now. I think most people who are interested in Team Fortress 2 have had a look at Overwatch now and what we've seen from Blizzard on that front. And the thing that struck me the most with Overwatch is the sheer verticality of that game. The fact that you're climbing constantly over terrain and that you can just kind of like climb up building on the fly and incorporate it into your tactic. Because with Team Fortress 2 you don't really get that, because more often than not it boils down to here's 1 or 2 like kind of main corridors and they're going to be act as choke points for most of the game. But with a grappling hook like this, you surpass that. And this adds verticality to Team Fortress 2, and it really adds a lot to the game. Because, like, think about the interesting map design you can have now. Like, something I want to see with this is a capture point map, whereby all the capture points are kind of like in one huge tower in the map, on top of each other, and you have one team spawn at the top and one at the bottom, and you kind of like climb up and down fighting each other. Of course, I understand that's quite a demand, and that's going to be really difficult to do, but you're open to a lot more options like this because of this game mode. Also added with this update, by the way, I should quickly mention, we do have 3 new weapons. We have the standard naughty and nice crates, we have some new festive weapons, but I'll be covering all of those in future videos. I just wanted to get my criticism and kind of analysis of this new game mode out of the way first, because I understand there's been a lot of comments on it. A lot of people have uploaded videos on this. There's been huge discussions on it on the subreddit. And I just wanted to kind of get my opinion out there, because I see this as something with a lot of potential if it's done right. Particularly if they fix the glitch where you can't stop grappling to the wall. My god, I was actually stuck here, and that's how I had to end this game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, just giving my opinions on the most significant thing I believe in this update. Of course we do still have the weapons, but we will get to those. Of course we will. It's quite exciting times, and it's Christmas, we're all off, I have time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you with something new soon. Goodbye, and thank you so much for watching.